Well, I thought that you might find it interesting to follow a bit of the history of telecommunications here in New Zealand leading up to tonight's award ceremony. And so here are a few interesting statistics for you to think about. 1876, July 26th, the first inter-island telegraphy happens. By the way, if you haven't seen this book, you should get it and read it. It's called The Victorian Internet. It's all about the telegraph. And stunningly, when you read the press releases about people's expectations of the telegraph and its impact on society, you need only change the word telegraph to internet to see the same hyperbole showing up in the 1800s that show up during boom periods in the internet world. The Victorian internet was, in fact, the telegraph, and it doesn't take long to appreciate how stunning it must have felt. Up until the time the telegraph was invented, the fastest you could send a message was a man on a fast horse, or maybe a train going from one place to another. Once the telegraph was invented, you could signal information faster than the train could go. Imagine how they felt when you could send this information on an undersea cable at the speed of light between one continent and another, and then Marconi comes along and does it without wires in 1901. So I can appreciate what the 19th century must have felt, because we feel it today about the internet, a transformational technology that is affecting every aspect of our world. February 1876, the first international cable sent. That can't be right, Peter. February? Maybe it's later. Anyway, first international cable sent by Prime Minister Fogel to Earl Carnarvon, the British colonial secretary in London. And then we fast forward 100 years. 1985, John Holker joins up to the U.S. Computer Science Network with the aid of Larry Landweber. Then John Postel, the person who did all the functions that ICANN performs today, all by himself for 25 years, approved John Holker as the first manager of .NZ. Fast forward another 10 years, Internet NZ is formed in 1995 to manage .NZ with Frank March, the current president and founding counselor. Frank goes on to be to serve as the NZ delegate to ICANN's Governmental Advisory Committee, and served, if I remember right, as vice president, one of the vice presidents. Then Professor John Hine sets up the first ISP in New Zealand. He's a fellow of Internet NZ, and he's responsible for founding the shared registry system in New Zealand. Keith Davidson, who's right over there, the former president and later CEO of Internet NZ, ran the ICANN meeting in Wellington, which we all appreciated Keith very much. He serves on the APTLD board and the joint CCNSO Governmental Advisory Committee. David Farrar, who is the former vice president of Internet NZ, is a key shaper of Internet policy and now is one of New Zealand's most famous bloggers. And then finally, we come to the foundation, which we're celebrating tonight, which gets created last year, or 2 years ago, actually. So let me speak just a little bit about some of the things that Peter mentioned. If you were to look at a picture of the way the internet is actually built, what you would discover is that there are hundreds of thousands of networks that are interconnected in the system, each one of which is operated independently by parties who make decisions based on their own specific organizational interests. And yet those interests align sufficiently that the internet functions as if it's a single unitary network, but it's really a function of collaboration and cooperation. The internet wouldn't exist without it. It wouldn't exist without the standards that allow us to plug our computers into the network and talk to 700 million machines scattered around on the internet. And so this notion of collaboration and cooperation, a very distributed operation, is key to the way the internet works. And it's also key to the way the internet evolves. The openness of the internet that Peter mentioned is absolutely critical to the way in which people have been able to contribute to its evolution. And tonight, as we honor people who have made significant contributions in different areas, we recognize that this openness has created opportunity for human creativity around the world to contribute new applications and new capabilities in the internet, which were surely not imagined by the small team that began this work in 1973. This foundation has been set up to recognize those entrepreneurs, those creators, those inventors who have decided to take this technology and apply it in ways that we might never have anticipated. And as this system continues to grow, remember that only 22% of the world is online. The chief internet evangelist has 75% of the world to convert. It's a big job. I'm not worried about job security. The fact is that every new application and every new idea brings another increment of creativity to the network. And we believe this deeply at Google. Some of our applications are specifically designed with publicly known application programming interfaces to let other people's ideas blossom and flourish. We've released source code for the Android operating system. We've released source code for the Chrome browser. We will release source code for the Chrome operating system. Why would we do such a thing? It's because we recognize that there are potentially 6.5 billion people with ideas that can make the internet better. And several million of them are here in this island. And we look forward to those contributions and celebrate them tonight, and especially hope that people who look at the internet here in New Zealand recognize the potential impact that you can have on a world that's thousands of miles away. The internet erases that distance and makes it possible to take information technology inventions created here in New Zealand and have a direct impact on the rest of the world's population. That's the thing that excites me the most about being here tonight, the creativity in New Zealand having a very direct and palpable effect on the rest of the world. You can do it, and you will do it, and I look forward to celebrating those successes in the years to come. Thank you very much.